It all goes funny. Hi everyone, I'm Courtney. I'm one of your local Stampin' Up demonstrators from Australia, and I'm going live today with a little treasure that is a bit of a hidden gem. It's from the online exclusives, and it's landed in our last chance basket. So I just wanted to share with you why I picked it, and we'll have a bit of a play. Today we're playing with fancy borders, and I'm so glad to be catching up. And yes, today we are live. It is not a pre-recorded video. Yes, I'm home. I'm enjoying the freezing and all that sort of stuff, and we'll just give everyone a chance to get online. And we've got a couple of things happening in our Stampin' Up world this month that, in case you haven't seen any of the posts that we've had going up, or if you haven't seen any of the latest news, I'm sure that I'm not the only demonstrator that you all follow. We've got a in colour special happening. So that in colour special this month is with our in colour range that is the 2025 to 2027 range. It is the range that includes Timber Tiger, Secret Sea, our Strawberry Slush, Darling Duckling, and our cloud cover. Now, what does that mean for you? It means that you're going to get a discount on anything that contains those colours. So it is our ink pads. Well, of course, our ink pads. Let me just trot over to our screen here. And we're a bit fuzzy, so we'll just fix that. Okay, so our ink pads are on a discount. And that discount, if I remember correctly, is 15%. Let me have a quick check of that, just because I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. Oh, of course. Yes, 15% on selected in-colour products. So when they say in-colour products, it is anything that contains the 2025 to 2027 range. So ink pads, gems, ribbons, anything that contains the colours that are listed. So markers, not our stamp pad, paper, everything. What it doesn't include is the virtual scrapbooking thing. That is really the only thing. If it's got one of these colours in it, it's on special, except for that virtual scrapbooking kit. Okay, so I'm playing with fancy borders. Now, I purchased this set because I really loved the card that was on the sample. Now, we all buy stuff for different reasons, and I figured that because we all buy things for those different reasons, I thought we'd have a look and see why I bought this. And I really love the bundle. Now, the bundle is also, because it's in our last chance set, it's on special too. It's cheaper to buy this as two separate parts. So our stamp as one part, back to this, swap screens. Our stamp is one set and our dies is another. Normally you will be paying for this bundle, you'd save you 10%. Not a problem, and you'd be paying $84.50. But if you buy it as two different parts, and yes, I'm flicking onto my other screen, at the moment you'd get the whole lot for $47. So that's a lot cheaper than $84.50, and I'm talking Australian dollars. Okay, so our fancy borders are, the bundle contains a stamp set that is matched with a die set, and I've got these two pieces pulled out just because I can. But this is the dies. All right, so there's a really cute little heart one, which is what actually made me buy it, is this row of hearts. But I also really love this one, okay? And they make nice edges on our cardstock, as you can see here, okay? And then you can do things like you can add a little strip, okay? This was just a scrap, and I was just having a play. You can add a little strip of something different, right? So just be aware of that and don't discount it. And you know what? These dies are fabulous without this. However, I really like Just Because. And I also think that Scent with Love is pretty cool. So those two sentiments were what, dragged me in, for want of a better way of putting it. There's also markers in this, so you know, you can get these markers for 15% off. So just keep that in mind when you are looking at adding things to your kit and your card. Okay, so let's make a card with our fancy borders. And yes, we're going to use the stamps as well as our dies, but we're going to use some ink colors because they're on special this month, and that's why we're doing it. So this is the ink color designer series paper. So each year we put out, Stampin' Up put out some designer series paper that comes in every single color. Okay, so it normally comes as a 6x6 and it comes presented as the family. So you will see there is a bright selection. Okay, the bright selection you're going to get and each packet has 40 pieces in it. Okay, the brights collection, because there's 10 different colors in that family, you are going to get 2 pieces of each one. Because there's only 5 colors in our in color range, you're going to get 4 pieces of each one. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So and there is all different designs. All right, so on one side there is images. Okay, so this one's got leaves. All right, and on the other side, when we swish it over, we've got like a motley look, and we've got stripes. So they're like a watercolory look, for want of a better way of putting it. Okay, so I brought those over as well because I figured we might as well play with them too. Okay, so let's have a bit of a look. And I just pulled strawberry slush because I had it out. All right, so we've got our strawberry slush envelope base. All right, and we're going to play with our fancy borders. So fancy borders have all of these different dies in them. This one looks really cool. I really liked what they did on the sample. They used it on the envelope and they cut it out of a piece of designer series paper, and then they put another piece of designer series paper behind it. So it actually worked quite nicely. All right, but we're going to have a play with these two. Okay, so the card that was on the actual samples is what sold it to me. And it was just a card and it had lots and lots of hearts. Now, you're going to have to bear with me because we have to cut out oodles and oodles of hearts. And they're all cut out of this one, the piece of basic white. And so I'm going to start running this through while I talk to you. Okay, now it is important to make sure that you get it straight. Okay, especially that first one, and you are going to end up with oodles of hearts left over. Okay, and now it's up to you whether you use a piece of washi tape or not. I am going to use a piece of washi tape because I definitely want these guys. Where is everybody today? All right. Now, I will let you all in on a little secret, and you'll be able to see that there's only one person. You'll be able to see how many people are watching as well, but I can see there's only one person watching me today, and there's normally, I don't know, 8, 10, sometimes even 12. So I don't know where everyone is today. I know in Australia, on the Central Coast, it's finally turned out to be an okay sort of day. But oh, here's Cheryl. Cheryl always watches, and normally Lisa's here as well. I feel like what was the lady on Romper Room, Cheryl? What was her name? She used to always. And I can see. Who can I see today? Oh, all right. So one's finally fallen out because I'm just running it through. All right. We're going to end up with lots and lots of hearts, and I'm just going to keep running it through until I've done this whole piece of paper. All right. And yeah, so oh yes, Miss Kim, that's her. Miss Kim. Ah, and who can we see today? So there is always something. Oh, okay, I've moved it. I was trying not to move it. Oh, my washi tape's sticking a bit. Okay, now because I've moved it, I've got all these little dots and whatnot, so I'll just send them off. Okay, because I don't want them to put an impression on the piece that's left. Okay, need my tools. So yeah, so Miss Kim used to be on Romper Room, and I don't know, was Romper Room a worldwide thing or was it just an Australian thing? I can't remember. But I used to love it growing up. And having a name like Courtney, let me tell you, and Cheryl, you probably were the same, but having a name like Courtney, I never got seen in the Romper Room window or mirror that she used to use because it was such an unusual name. Thanks, Mum. Now, normally my auntie's here as well, so I don't know where everybody is today, but that's okay. Hopefully they're being creative. All right. I'm still going through. I've got a couple more. That piece of, and I'm literally just lining up my hearts with my little, because it's got that little dot on it. Oopsie. I just want to make sure that they're straight. So I'm creating a piece of, a feature piece of paper just by running this through so many times. Okay, and there's another heart. I've got all these hearts everywhere and those dots everywhere. All right. But yeah, so there's always something that makes you buy a certain set. Now, it could be, my class ladies could be sitting here going, can't get on with YouTube. I wonder what's going on with it. Oh, I know what's happened with YouTube. Yes, okay, ladies, I forgot when I was in with, I'm going to see if it'll let me edit the channels while I'm on there. And it's because YouTube, I put it on as unlisted. Let's see if it will let me tweak it and make it as public now. All right, so we've saved the channels. Let's see if it now changes the details on YouTube. Because what I did last time was I went on and I had, because it was a video that I wanted to go back and stream later, I had it as unlisted on YouTube. I wonder if that's what's made the difference for everybody. So they've had to come in on Facebook. Okay, we'll see if that's, have a look now, Cheryl. You should be able to get on YouTube now. Because I was running late and I was yakking away to Tony here. And yeah. So, and I just went, oh, I'm running late. I have to get on. Let's do this. I'm nearly done here. I've got one more row. All right, now my numbers have increased. So they must be coming from YouTube, not on Facebook. All right. That'll explain a few things to me. And I reckon I only need one more row here. So I'm just chopping away. So Fancy Borders is a nice little set. We've got some green leaves. We've got some leaves. We've got, they can be any colour we like, really, can't they? And we've got, in the stamp set, we've got inside sentiments and as well as sentiments that we can use on our the front of our cards. All right, I'm just going to pop those bits all over there. Okay, so I've just run through, for those that are just joining us now, I'm just running through the last time on one of the dies. And this particular die happens to be the one that's all the hearts. And it was this die that made me fall in love with it and need this bundle. Okay, so it's this one here with all of these hearts. Okay, oh, that one. It's going to need to pull out from that side. Okay, and all those dots. Now, that's one thing you'll notice is now I have a plethora. Well, that's a big word, isn't it? Yay, on YouTube's better. Now I have so many hearts, it's not funny, but I can just put all these ones out because I just left them in because it didn't matter. All right, and just pop them out. And it's up to you whether you can pop them back in or you can pop them out. You can do lots of things. So you've got all these ones that you can use for a different project depending on what you decide you want to do. I've also got a really cool mask if I want to use it as a mask. And I've got it as a nice background piece or feature piece, depending on what I want to do with it. So if you were to have a look at the online store at this set, you would see something similar to this that's used as a feature so that you on their actual card. And they used it on a basic white card and they popped this on top and it just made a really nice, hello, how you going? It made a really nice card. Okay, so that is something that you can do with this set. So I was just saying how, oh, now it's stuck together. The other things that you can do is you can use this as your edges, but I wanted to do something like this with you. It was really easy and it's really effective. Now you can add that. Where did I put? Oh, there it is. You can add that straight onto here and it looks just as fabulous. Okay, but we've got all of those hearts there, but we've also got all this fabulous paper. Which one do I want? I want this one. And I'm going to pop this behind it instead. Okay, just for something a little bit different. Now, reaching for the trimmer, which I haven't, I've deliberately left behind me because I was using it to cut out. No, I did bring it over, but where did I put it? I did put it within arm's reach. Okay, arm's reach trimmer is just here. So now I'm going to just cut this piece down. I actually want it the same size as this piece of basic white. And I've got some others here. And for those that don't watch me on a regular basis, I will tell you that it is 10 centimeters normally, or actually, no, it's not. It's normally less than that. It is 9.5 by 13.9. Now, why 13.9, you say? The reason why I do 13.9 is because, let's make it a little bit bigger. The reason why I do 13.9 is because when we cut our pieces of cardstock in half, we're cutting them at 14.9-ish, just shy of that, which means if I cut a border, I cut it a little bit smaller and I make it 14.4. So that makes another 0.5 centimeter smaller, is 13.9. Does that make sense? All right, clear as mud, as the saying will go. And I just did what I wanted to do because I was too busy yabbering. So I was going to put a little bit of a border all the way around this, but then I just chopped it off. So I won't be. All right, I could just get another piece because I have got plenty of it. That looks pretty good even with the flowers behind it, but I like it with the plain stuff. So let me get another piece. And I'm going to do this a little bit bigger than my white, which is 10 by 14.4, because the side of my piece of paper is just that little bit bigger. And I think that that is what is going to work quite nicely for us. All right. Oh, boy. Too busy yakking, that's my problem. Hi, Dimity, how you going? All right. Our numbers are increasing now that I've made it so that I actually can be seen on YouTube, because I had it so that you couldn't. Like, seriously. All right. Okay, so I'm using the same technique that they've used on the example that Stampin' Up have used. However, what I have done is I've just moved my little hearts a little bit over and done that sort of stuff. So that's fine. So that is just one of the things that you can do. The other thing that you can do there's heaps of stuff you can do. But look, I've lost my train of thought now that I cut that piece of paper off. There's always 2 pieces of paper. There's always more paper, isn't there, ladies and gents? Okay, so I thought that looked pretty. I bought white over because I wasn't sure what I was going to use. Like, do you ever do that? Do you have a whole, whole heap of different ones? Just so that you can sort of, well, a whole heap of different pieces so that you can decide what you're going to play with. All right, yeah, let's go. I think I'm going to use the basic white cardstock, I think, because I actually quite like that, and just use the designer series paper. This piece here is a little bit darker, so but you can see it's a bit more mottled, so it wouldn't actually really work that well. Yeah. This piece here I didn't think worked as nicely. Okay, so but whereas this nice little, I don't know, what would you call it? Like, it's almost like a watercolory, messy look. But yeah, I like it anyway. So that piece is going to get stuck directly onto there. Now, there's lots of little bits. There's lots of little, lots of messy spots. The opportunity for lots of mess here. Okay. The heart is cut from, we are playing with fancy borders, because fancy borders are in the last chance clearance there at the moment. And this is one of the borders from Fancy Borders. Okay, so we're playing with that today because they've reduced it quite significantly. This die set has gone, is half price. So you get, thank you for reminding me, Dimity, you actually get these dies. They've got a little bit of washi tape on them because I've been playing with them. All these dies in it, and it's only $30 in Australia. Okay, so I think it's a bargain. I do love the stamp set because I love the size of the sentiments, and I do like the sentiments in it. But I really like that just because in large lettering, uppercase lettering. So yeah. So I bought this because I really liked what they've done with this particular die. Now, there's always something that makes you, yeah, did you see that? New glue. I'm treating myself. So you will need to be aware when you're putting glue on this one, you can't put it everywhere because you'll end up with it all over the front. I'm going to glue it straight down now because I'm not going to put anything under it. If you wanted to add a bit of height, you could add some dimensionals under it, and you could sit it a little bit higher. But I'm going to add dimension in other places. All right. So I am going to put this straight on here. Well, I'm going to try and be straight. My gosh. Okay. It makes a really good mask as well. Okay, so that's going to hang out on there. Alrighty. Now, there is in here, see how there's this really cute heart as well? And you all know that I've got my scraps thing beside me, but our Scent with Love, you're probably going to need a punch. So we've got a variety of punches. This just happens to be the one that I have on my desk. Okay. And it just happens to be the one that's on my desk. That's why we're using it. So I'm going to continue with the strawberry slush theme. I'm going to do special delivery because, you know, I actually do know someone that's having a baby girl. And this card is going to be for them. So we'll get another piece of basic white. And I'm just going to do my special delivery. They call this monochromatic. Okay, so we'll just do a special delivery. Now, I'm sure that oh, you did. There it is there. Special delivery. Just get some of that pink off. Okay, and the other one that I want is I want the heart. Okay. Now with that heart, there isn't a die, and that doesn't match, and it doesn't match the die that's in there. With that heart, I'm actually going to get my wink. This is a brand. I've got a brand new Wink of Stella too. So we're getting all the new stuff out today. New blue, new Wink of Stella. I've actually dated it because I've started to think was wondering how long they were lasting me. So I've started dating them because I think that might be the neurotic nurse coming out of me. I'm just pulling some of that ink from the edges there of my heart. So it's just got a little bit of colour in it. But yeah, I've started dating it so that I can start to see how long things are lasting me. So see how it's just pink? All right. So if I remember correctly, this fits in here. Please fit. Yeah, perfect. Okay. And then, please, I don't think Amanda's watching, so we're going to fussy cut this guy. Okay. So it's up to you whether you go right close to the edge or whether you actually, I suppose it depends on how badly you're fussy cutting as to, all right. Okay, so I'm going to go right to the edge this time with this particular one, because half of it's at the edge and half of it's not. And I'll show you another trick. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm not what's the word for it? I'll do more than one craft. And so I crochet, I sew, I do lots of different things. I also used to do a thing called paper towel. And one of the things that they taught us at paper towel is we don't like white edges. So it was really hard for me to come in and start putting white edges on everything. Okay. But I actually now really like them. So I very rarely do what I've just done now, which is cut all the way to the edge. But if I do it like that, you can sort of see I'm not that great at cutting it to the edge, which is why I don't usually do it. I usually leave that white edge around it. So this is where our markers are going to come in handy. Okay, so the markers in this particular pack comes in a packet of 5. Otherwise, they come in the packets of 10 with all of them. Now, there's a brush end and there's a thin end. So the thin end looks like a bullet and the brush end looks like a brush. So what I've learned while I was doing paper towel is that you can do with your markers is see how I've got that little bit of white there. If you come around the edge of your piece of paper with your marker, right, all the way around the edge I'm going, is you now have no white edge. Why am I shaking? I don't know. I don't know what's going on today. I'm not nervous. Okay, I've just got to get into that little point there. All right, so now that white edge has gone. And now my heart looks completely different. All right. So the other thing that I can do, because I have the marker, I've also got all of these guys, is I can colour them in if I wanted to. All right, choice is yours. Markers are good for lots of different things. Okay. Special delivery is going to fit quite nicely on there, and that's going to make one very easy, very pretty little card. So let's finish it off. And it's a baby girl. We're going to need ribbon. Okay. So, because I want to show you something else as well. You're going to get 2 cards today. That's a win. All right. Because I do want to, I'm going to make something with that strawberry slush. So I'll just pop a bit of ribbon around here. Don't make it too tight because I am going to tie a bow because it's a baby girl. And I'm not a fan. The midwife in me is not a fan, and Lisa's probably going to agree with me. midwife with me is not a fan of headbands on babies, but that's okay. That's just because of the medical, to me, that's just because of the medical implications of them. The baby can't tell you that it's hurting, it's too tight, or any of that sort of stuff. So I'm just trying to remember which way I'm going to put it in. But I do believe that, you know, ribbons are pretty. And why not have some ribbons? But I don't think they should be on babies' heads. But that's just a personal thing. Right. This ribbon ties so nicely. This is, it's like a, I don't know, what's the way to put it? They call it faux linen, but so like fake linen. So it just ties nicely. It's a little bit stiff, but it's not stiff. And see how it's curled? All right. It's because it's too tight. So we'll just give it a little bit, make it a little bit looser. Because I just want that paper flat. Okay. And this, my auntie's probably sitting there going, oh my gosh, this is so not you, Court. Because I don't do pink. Pink and I are not friends. If your ribbon's not sitting exactly where you want it to, you can move it along. I'm not going to in this particular case, but what you can do is you can use your glue dots and you can force it into submission, which I am going to do because I don't want it to sit where it's sitting. And where are you, glue dot? There she is. Oh. Normally I would stick whatever I'm sticking on the glue dot to the glue dot, but in this particular case I can't because I'm going to put the glue dot when it comes off here. I'm going to put the glue dot underneath here where I want that to sit to force it into submission, okay? Because I wanted it to sit a little bit lower and it was just sort of like going up. Okay, that is going to sit there like that. All right, and we'll add some glue to the back here. I've told you before, I'll tell you again, I always leave these pieces on. I just find it adds a bit of support to them. Whoa, oh, that's right. Remember, Court, you've got new glue. You know, there's two ends to this. The other end, which you never usually see me use, is really good for doing that when you get a bit carried away with how much glue you put on, because you don't want this glue to squirt out the side because it dries sticky. Okay, so just be aware of that. New glue is fast. Okay, but I do put a bit of glue onto the ribbon just because I can. Okay, and it makes it stick down better. But I just find that it gets supported better if you leave those pieces of white, those pieces of tape on there. All right, hold your tongue in the right position so you make sure you get your card nice and straight. Hold it down. If it's still trying to curl a little bit, you can put blocks on it to help secure it. This guy here, if you wanted to, you could add a little bit of shading to it. I don't think it needs it. Ah, yes, that's good, Dimity. You just put them in your cart just before you got here. Wise choice, because they are really nice dies. Okay, perfect timing for you. Yeah, so you can, like as I was saying, you can add a little bit of shading to it if you want. Now, I'm going to use, because I've got them here, my edges. Okay, I want to straddle my ribbon. I don't want to sit on the ribbon. Normally I wouldn't put it straight onto there, but I'm showing you that I can, and that's the only reason I'm doing it. All right, I want it to straddle my ribbon. I don't want it to sit on my ribbon. Why don't I want it to sit on my ribbon? It just doesn't stick as well. Okay, so I'll just take that off, and then this piece here is going to sit quite nicely. Let's make it so there's a little bit of ribbon over the side there. just there. Okay, and then this guy is going to sit here. Now, actually, I will do, before I do that, I'm going to use a couple of these just because I can. Now, with your Wink of Stella, if you want to, oh, I've got mess here everywhere. If you want to use your Wink of Stella and you want to use some ink directly from the ink pad, my suggestion is that you get a block, you put a bit of ink on the corner of your block, close back up your ink pad, and that is where you get your colour from. The reason being is that then you don't have, you won't have any problems with your ink pad getting all nice and glittery, which is to me not really a problem, but it also means then that you don't have to have your ink pad open the whole time. Now, not a problem under normal circumstances, but I'm sitting here, it's freezing, so the heater is on, so the air is a bit drier. We also run a dehumidifier when it has been quite damp. And we can even do some of these dots. No, we don't need them. Look, we don't need. Now, it's got a little bit of pink on the edge of it. Want to get rid of the pink? You can just colour in some more hearts until the colour goes away. Or you can, if you've got black jeans on or a black apron, you can, or a piece of scratch paper, you can actually colour it off that to get the colour off. But you'll see it's already almost gone. And it comes off quite nicely because, what's that, 4 hearts. The third heart, after, like, because I actually re-inked it, 3 hearts and there's no colour left. Okay, that one's a bit dodgy because it had more colour at the beginning than it did at the end. So with these hearts, let's stick these guys on. All right. Now this, my other glue's really run out, so this one's not going to work. I'm going to put you on here. I just know it. I just had this overwhelming fear that it was going to come out really fast, and I only want it to have a little bit. So it's just got the tiniest bit of glue. Let's put that one there. And it's going to make a little cluster of these hearts. And then that guy's going to sit over the top. But that one there is getting a dimensional. Now the shape, the size of this one, it can get away with a mini. Okay. Don't even know why I had it sticking up there on that. All right, and I'm just going to pop that one there. They're all, oh, we've got a sticky situation here. Didn't let those guys dry. And they tried to chase me. We can't have that nonsense now, can we? Well, I've noticed it's a bit floppy under here, so I might actually stick a couple of these guys underneath there. So if you ever notice that and you think, oh, how am I going to get them in there? Take both sides off. Just prise it up a little bit and literally stick it under. Okay. Take it off the top here. And if you've watched anything by the team from head office, they'll tell you don't even need to take that one off. You can just stick it under. Okay. And we need to do something on our inside. So we could actually do something really pretty in here. I will quite frequently, with basic white, I will put a layer of colour in, which today is going to happen to be a layer of this colour. Trimmer is developed links. I can't put it that far. I didn't stand up. Oh, that was clever of me. I'll put it right behind me. So I'm going to add an extra layer. Now, because I cut this one a little bit shorter, I'm going to actually have to cut it down again. And then to make my piece of basic white for the inside the correct size, because at the moment they're both the same size, I'm now going to cut it down 1/2 centimetre as well. 1/2 centimetre on the side and 1/2 centimetre on the bottom, just so that it gives me that lip. All right. Everybody that knows me knows this is a really hard thing for me to do, because under normal circumstances, I'm quite happy to cover up a whole piece of plain cardstock, but it's really hard for me to cover up a whole piece of designer series paper. I would normally thieve from under here. When I say thieve from under here, I would cut out a piece so that I didn't actually use all of that underneath. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you these other dies under here, because I'm going to pull some of that from under there and put it on my front. Okay. Now, you can't tell that you've done what I'm doing when you have, oops, about to make a big noise. Don't drop that because I need to use it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these leaves from in underneath here, and then I'm going to use the die, the bits I cut out on top of it. So unless you hold this card up to the light, you won't be able to tell when you're looking at the card what I've done. So nobody's going to know. You know, like that saying that they do that. Nobody's going to know. Nobody's going to know. Well, guess what? I know. You guys know. And that's okay. As long as you stay away from your edges, we're going to be sweet. Because see that? It's looking pretty bad on that piece of black. Just be careful when you take them off. You don't want to damage any of them. But just make sure you've got all the pieces. I have got a new set of cutting mats, I will tell you, but I haven't used them. See, that also looks really cool, right? Okay, which is one of the reasons why they do it. And you can put another piece underneath a different color, all that sort of stuff. But we're going to go this way. All right, so we're going to stick that on there. Alrighty. That piece is just going to get stuck on there because now it's that little bit smaller. Oh, I'm going to end up with glue all over my table. Oh no, I didn't put any in there. That was pretty clever. But then what I'm going to do, just because I can, is turn you over. Make sure you got the right side facing up. Stick that on there. And there is a reason why I stick that on there, because it's easier to manhandle. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on here. Let's give it a bit of a blow. All right. Put this beside me so that I can see which way up I want to do it. Because I want to make sure I get my leaves in the right way. So it goes that way. So it's got like a little bit of a fatter end down the bottom down here. And then I'm going to pop my leaves back on like so. And if I put them in the right spots, okay, that should be one plant, and the other one, that should be the other plant. So they've got 3 down each side and 1 up the middle. And the one up the middle is the bigger of the two, of the 7 leaves. So we'll put that one up there. I am all over my words today. Didn't even know what day it was yesterday. I was supposed to go to work late last night for a education thing. I was talking to my boss in the daytime, and she just said, "Oh, I'll see you tonight." And I went, "Oh, isn't it tomorrow night? Like, today's only Tuesday." And she goes, "No, you were here on Tuesday. Today is actually Wednesday, and you're due to come tomorrow night. I come tonight. Now, when you're looking at this, you'll notice it's a little bit more rounded at this end and pointed at that end. So that's where you want to make sure your leaves are going in the right direction. However, to me, they don't look like they're going right. That one mustn't be that one. And look, it's no biggie, but just because, you know what? No one's really going to know which one's supposed to be where. And I'm missing a leaf here, so it must be up there. You'll look good. All right, so that's actually going to look really pretty because I've just brought it forward. So now I'm just going to go on and stick them down. One bit at a time. So yes, she was a bit concerned about me yesterday. She's going, oh, it's a bit of a worry. Yeah, I know, working me too hard. I decided I'd blame them. But fell on deaf ears, I think. That one's supposed to go on that side. I think I've got the wrong one here. I think it needs to be that one because they've got a funny shape to them. That's better. All right. Take your pick tool is very handy for this sort of work. Okay. So does anyone else have this set? Dimity's going to buy it now. She may have just stuck it in a cart because it was like, oh, that's actually quite a good price and I really like that. The thing is, guys, last chance. Don't leave it to the last minute because last chance means that you won't get very much warning when the last minute is and you might miss out. So I don't know if the last chance list got updated recently. So there's a whole heap of new goodies in there. The seagulls, I haven't looked. I didn't look today to see if they're still in there. The seagulls from Celebration actually landed in there, which I was most impressed with because I really loved those seagulls. Kept saying to one of the girls at work that like my boss, one of my bosses, because there's two of them, has got a cork pegboard, and the cork pegboard just looks like it really needs a seagull sitting on it. So guess what? It's got a seagull sitting on it. Oopsie. My glue went out the side, so I just want to cover that up because this is the inside of my card, and that will stick to the other piece. Have I done everybody? I've done everybody. There you go. How gorgeous does that look? And then you can put more hearts on there if you wanted, but the thing that does look good in here, oh, it's a bit messy there. Oh, she goes, what did she just do then? I had a little bit of a mark on here from the glue and my fingers. The putty on here, why is it so wobbly? The putty on here can act a little bit like an eraser at times, so it's pretty good fun. I'm just going to add, because I can, some dots. Now, I've added dots of glue, and you're thinking, well, that just defeated the purpose because now it's going to stick to the cover. Well, it won't because I'm going to do something else. So I'm letting them dry just a little bit. And with these white dots, because they are so exceptionally cool, and there is so many of them, and I'm not about to use them as confetti in a shaker because I wasn't going to make one, I'm actually just putting them in. If they will sit down like I want them to, I am putting them on here just as a little bit of a feature because I can. All right. Now, a little bit difficult to see, but how cool does that look? Just because I've got all these extra bits. So we'll pop that on the inside of our card. If you, there is a sentiment that says sent with love. Actually, that'll be quite nice in here. So we'll add that to it as well, just because we can. And now I've got ink all over that block. We won't use that block. We'll use this one. Hey Cheryl, these would be really good to if you were doing some little note cards to go with all of your knitting for people that are sending it. I've just got to hold my tongue straight because there's a lot of commitment when you've already got bits stuck together. Okay, I get nervous when I'm a bit stuck together because I can't just go, oh, that didn't work, we'll just swap that out. I normally like to rub off my pinks relatively. That was noisy. I would normally like to rub off. Did you see me? That's funny. My pinks relatively quickly because they stain the stamps. But you know, a stained stamp is a sign of a love stamp, so that's okay. All right, so let's pop this one in here. And see what I mean? When you've got that basic white inside, it just makes it look so much nicer to have that colour on the inside, doesn't it? That's for our little baby girl. We need an envelope, which I do have over here somewhere. It's hiding. All right, so our little baby girl's going to get that. Now, I'm thinking, let's do something else. Because we've got our leaves on the inside here, we can make them, nobody said we can only do, we can make our envelope look a bit fancier as well. All right. So let's make our envelope look a little bit fancy. We're going to send the envelope with our leaves through our die machine. Okay, now the envelope just fits through the cut and emboss machine. So you want to make sure that you line it up relatively square and even so that the envelope doesn't get mangled as it goes through. Okay, because I wanted it to go through on that particular part. We don't need those white bits, that's okay. All right, it's crooked, but you know what, that's right. Now, because we've used this piece, we're going to use it in here as well. Now, it's up to you how much effort you'd like to put into your envelopes, but sometimes it's nice to have them just looking that little bit pretty. So I'm just going to cut this in half, which happens to be 3 inches, which is about 7.6 centimetres. Okay, because we don't want to use it all in there. And I'm going to use my pencil, which is over here. I'm just going to trace around here a bit. Okay. You can just hold it against it and cut it, but I'm just going to trace around it. All right. If you were to glue it straight on, then that would work as well, but you can then just sort of cut around the edge. But I actually wanted to sit it down inside here a bit, just so that we've got the lip of the envelope still in the same spot. Okay, so that's going to do 2 things. It's going to make a nice pretty inside on my envelope. I can still use the piece of the sticky that's already been there. Oh, hi Ruth, how you going? I'm so glad that you found me on YouTube. I can still use that sticky because it's there. If you decide that you want to ditch that sticky and you want to put it up here as an envelope liner, then you can. It's gone a bit fuzzy, but it looks just as nice down there, because really what I'm using it for is I want to be able to see that guy. Okay, just because it looks pretty. And you'll notice I've still got one of them left over from the inside. All right, so that I could put that on my front. when you're doing this, you need to know where your envelope edge is, because, and I've just marked it with a pencil because I need to fold it there. You can use the embossing feature. Actually, embossing. What am I talking about? Man, you can use your tool, the tool on your trimmer, to just emboss a line along it. Okay, just so that we can bend it in both ways, so that way then your envelope will close quite nicely for you. All right, now what's important is that we don't want to put any glue around where the leaves are going to be on the outside. So we'll put a little bit of glue in here and here and here. So that'll cover those leaves. But now I'm just going to run around. I want it to be fairly good in underneath there, but I'm just going to run around this edge. Okay, so that it's not going to stick out where our leaves are, because we don't want it to come through. Okay, and then we'll just shove this in, and we're making sure that we're using the same side that we had at the front on our card, because we make sure we use the same side that we use on our card, because we want to make sure that not only are we even, we match. Okay, so now we've got a little bit of a liner there for our envelope, and that'll close up quite nicely, and we've got a pretty decorative feature on the back here. Okay, so because we've done that and it looks gorgeous, let's have another look and see what else we've got in here. We've got this little pretty stamp here, which is this leafy one, but we've also got this little heart. Okay, so I'm just going to pull that little heart out, and I'm going to stick it in the corner there, and just to bring in a little bit more, because you can, this baby girl can never have enough pink, and we'll just pop that in just as a little special something. Okay, and there we have a really pretty card for a new little baby girl. That's using you can get your sentiment from anywhere, but these dies are something that on the last chance list and at half price for $30 are an absolute steal, but they also are so fabulous. So we've got this card that I was playing with earlier, and I've just run it down the side. That was this particular one here. I've just run that one down the side. I also ran it down a piece of paper. So just while I've got you, I know that I'm keeping you a little bit longer than I normally do. I ran it down this piece of paper as well. And there I've got it on the edge there too. So you can do lots of different things with it. And I did have a really scrawny little piece as well. What you can do here is you can add it underneath there. Right, so then you've got that border along the edge there, and that can become a landscape card, or it can go down the side of it. Oh man, fuzzy. Go down the side of a portrait card. So it just depends on what you want to do in that respect. The other thing that you can do with it that you just need to be aware of is when you're doing it with in this particular case, is you want to make sure that when you cut the die, that was too far. When you cut the die, that you cut it, like I sent it through the cut and emboss machine. I made sure, see how it's got the points there? I actually made sure that one of those points lined up with an edge, so that way when I sent the piece of designer series paper through, I could line it up with one of those edges as well, because I wanted my little, I don't know, what do you call them, the circly bits, the moony bits or the pointy bits, whichever bit you want to call it, I wanted them all to line up so that I got a really pretty edge. Now that means I've got little bits hanging over, I'm okay with that because I can just snip those off, because guess what? I've got a straight line right here that I can just go, oh, there's my straight line. Thank you very much. And boom, you're gone. And then on this one here, there's that one, that's gone. Now it actually is all lined up. Okay, when I'm doing something on this particular card, I've got really pretty flowers. Okay, I can do another edge similar. Actually, let's make this card, because you've got 5 more minutes, haven't you? 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes, my foot. You know, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Not going to be 5 more minutes. Sorry, guys. There's lots of other different things that you can do. I will leave it at that. You can then add a piece of paper on top. Nice and easy card. Let's do it, because we've started it. Now, because I've got the piece of designer series paper going from top to bottom here, I'm going to make this piece of designer series paper go from top to bottom as well, which means this is going to measure 14.9 centimeters. I've still only used one piece. Make it as fat as you want, as skinny as you want. Choice is yours. Okay, let's glue that one down. And you're all going, hold on a second, you've got no ribbon on it, you haven't got any sentiment on it. Nobody said a card had to take a long time. But I'm going to leave a little bit of an edge over that side. A bigger edge on the other side. Make sure it's all lined up. Okay. And then I'm going to cut. Actually, where's that piece that I had before? Here it is. I've got this really funky looking piece, for want of a better way of putting it. Let's cut this piece in half. 7 centimeters is pretty smick. If you've got a nice shaped die, you can do a nice shaped die. Special delivery or sending love. Let's just go with sending love, because it's actually already on the stamp pad, on the stamp block. Sent with love. Okay. Could have made it a little bit smaller, but we don't need to, because we're going to do something else. We need a bit of ribbon, because we all need a bit of ribbon in our life. Didn't put it around there, but what I can do is this. Doesn't need to be big, actually. You know how sometimes when you make a bow and you end up with all those, because you do a bow a bit different? It does, doesn't it? Lots of knitting for little baby girls. And you often end up with little bits like this. All right. Okay, so pretend we've made a bow and we've got all these little bit of offcuts. All right. So these today are pretending to be offcuts. I've got this card and I just need it to be something pretty, something different. I've got all these hearts from before. What I'm going to do with these bits is get my tape, because nobody knows what's underneath here. All right. What I've got to decide is what side of the card I want them to stick out of, which happens to be over here today. Put one on there. And one there. All right. And they're nice and secure. And then I have used up those little tiny scraps of ribbon. There's a little bit of ribbon there. Okay, this guy's going to get stuck down. Actually, let's stick it down. We're going to stick it flat. This will be the fastest card I've ever made. You're thinking, what about all that space you've got up there, Court? I'm not lining it up with my, well, I am sort of lining it up, but I'm not lining it up straight. I'm lining up straight up and down with that piece of paper there, but I'm not making it in the row. Now, these guys here have now become something that I'm going to use. So, do they fit under a dimensional? Does a mini dimensional fit under these guys? No, it doesn't. All right, they're going to have to just go on. Okay? You can just stick these guys on however you want. That's the one that I put Wink Stella all over. Where's my Wink Stella one? Here it is. That's not Wink Stella. Far out. Pays to look, doesn't it? So I'm just going to cover these guys, the rest of them, with Wink Stella now. It's easier to do this before you stick them on, okay? Just giving you the heads up. And the reason being, oh, look, why am I even doing that? No way. The reason why it's easier to do before you stick them on is because this way you can be really messy and you can just, you know, rub it all over it. That one's up the wrong way. Yes, there is a right and a wrong side. Okay, and I think I did that one. Oh no, I did it on the right side. And we want quite a few of them. And I used all of the pink ones from before, but I think I need another pink one. So I'll just get some more of that pink. Okay, pink, strawberry slush, I mean. Put some more on it because it's very stripy. You're ignoring my poor dog that wants to go out. Right. And now we are going to put some glue on the back of all of these. That is a bit heavy-handed on the glue. So we'll just take some of that glue. And I'm going to put one over here. That has, and I'm literally just putting these randomly all over it, just because I've got them. And, you know, if you cut it out of all different designer series paper, they look really cool. And then you've got all of these different hearts. You can use them in shakers, lots of different things. Okay. And this one's got a little bit of a pink blush, so we'll put it on too. All right. And then we can do the same thing that we did with this one here, and we can make one that is stamped and cut out because, you know, it looks good. And it's going to be popped up. And the reason why it's going to be popped up is just because we can. Now, what you'll notice is that I didn't talk to you about anything to do with the embellishments that we've got that are just pulling a little bit of colour from the edge just to give that one a bit of a shape. Okay. We've got embellishments that are dots in this particular case that are in colours. So let's see if I can do this neatly this time. Oh, that looks better. Moving the heart, not the scissors. All the scissors are doing is slowly closing, because now I've got more room to stick my absolutely glorious little dimensional. And then I've got to decide where I want this guy, which happens to be, all right. So with this particular range, there is there's dots that are our in colours. All right. So, and they come in through, it's 3 different size dots. And in this particular case, I'm only going to use the small ones. Because I've got other pretties on there. When it comes to putting the inside on, it's up to you. But to me, I really like how it's got that edge there. Alabama, wow, cool. So what I would be doing with this one, I would, when it comes to putting my inside in, see how you can see it? Or you can normally, like if I put it in the normal spot, which happens to be about there, you can see it. I don't necessarily want it unless I send this guy through to match that pattern. So I'm going to trim a little bit off the edge of it because I don't particularly want to be able to see it. Patricia, you might want to go and watch back through because this is not the main card of the day. I did another one because I really like these fancy border dies. And I think with them being on clearance, actually, I can only see the Australian store. Got all these hearts stuck to me now. Are they in the Australian store? These guys are half price on the last chance list. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that in there like so. And then we can't see it. So it actually looks, it still looks quite pretty. All right. And I'd need to do an envelope. And I'll do the envelope similar to the way I did the other one. So this is our main card from today. That was with those dies. They're just the fancy border dies. There's nice edges, but I really love this heart feature that you can just keep running it through as many times as you like. Makes great confetti. So, you know, if you've got heart confetti, if you want heart confetti to go into a shaker card or anything like that. But it's just such a pretty card, a pretty way to do it. So because of that, I am going to head off now because I have kept you way longer than I normally do. But that's okay. It was so great to see everybody. And I hope you enjoyed that. Pop these guys in your cart. The stamp set is currently on $17. Actually, both parts are half price. So don't put the bundle in there. Dimity, thank you, Patricia. If you've got your cart, if you've got the whole board, if you've got the bundle in your cart, swap it out and put the 2 single pieces in because at the moment that's the better way to shop. Always check the last chance list, guys, because you never know. You might find a little treat in there that you didn't know was going to be something special for you today. All right, all good. I'm about to head off and